thing is that it does not let most of those series develop so much. The thing is with series that are completely born on the internet. For example, most common example, Netflix series. With the possible exception of Arrested Development, there's not so many series that go way beyond the third season mark. On these platforms that are completely internet based, such as Netflix and Hulu, there are a couple of them that they have gone away from that mark, but making like balanced numbers, not like huge numbers. So, in the case of the Disney Plus platform, they have two series that they have the curse of becoming potential prequels to the MCU and what has happened. As I was mentioned on the first part of this podcast, the problem with that is that your groundwork, the MCU is moving in such a pace that it's really hard to build up or expand the whole MCU money wise and production wise. Getting stuck on prequels. The thing is that in the way that the machine works, in the way that it has been working for the last 10 years, and that has been Marvel's most successful formula to date, is the fact that they keep on a constant continuity. So if that constant continuity gets stuck with prequels, the thing is that changing the format to TV can help on that part, but it will not help in all parts overall. So the thing is that they have to take that into consideration while working on this series. But they have also another series which is between Falcon and Bucky, the Winter Soldier and Falcon, which is perhaps the most important series that they have, because it has elements that it can be developed story-wise as Daredevil was. And the thing is that it's the only one that can set up through a continuity. Because, I said it, I gave these spoiler warnings earlier on. It's the only one that can. So I'm not going to be messing with other people's. I know friends of me, for example, I'm one that goes to see MCU movies like after 2 weeks that they've been out. But the thing is that you get so exposed to the spoilers that you're going to see everything that everybody has told you. So, I think that the Falcon and Bucky series has the greatest potential of them all. Doesn't have the prequel curse in it. It has enough ground to keep working on the pace and moving forward with the MCU. I think that will, from this point, it gives a lot of good points to what can be developed. Now, film-wise, the next phase of Marvel seems to be, it's going to be mostly focused between Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, mainly those mentioning what it has been set up as the new power roster of the MCU. From that, we have also, we don't know if Hawkeye is going to be moving on into... Well, he is already in this new character. We saw... Come on. This one, you saw it on the trailers. He's running. Come on, for God's sake. You know that one. He's already running, so he's not Hawkeye. So that Hawkeye... persona, that Hawkeye is completely abandoned. Nobody's taking up that mantle, and those are really big shoes to fill. So we have, for example, the fact that Fantastic Four and X-Men can be inserted. So we could, with Dark Phoenix, we could be seeing the close of the entire era of X-Men movies. Sadly, The last couple of X-Men movies had not been as good as they were in the beginning, and it's really sad because it started with this promising cast in what they insist is not a reboot, but to me it was kind of a reboot of the whole series, that it was X-Men First Class, and the movie is really amazing. It will be really sad. The thing is that Disney has a lot of challenge with this one, because you have to see how Fox will withhold its claws and the way they have developed these characters on one hand, and in the other hand you have this huge challenge that of recasting as much of those characters with their original actors. And the thing is that that's really, really, really hard. For example, Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy, they are the lead on that franchise right now. Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen have already stepped off. Hugh Jackman is as long as he's still alive, he will be the personification of Wolverine. Getting a new guy cast as Wolverine is something that is really difficult. I will be really careful about that one, so we will have to see how that works out. The fresh groundwork and the best opportunity that Disney has right now, the MCU has right now, is once again and trying to see if this time inside this universe, how, and especially when so many things have gone on, but it's the fact that they can use the Fantastic Four and finally insert a constant villain as huge as Doctor Doom. So we have those. They have. In the fact of the Fantastic Four, it could be the game changer that could actually help X-Men. It has to be really careful. I think Michael Fassbender as well as James McAvoy should still be casted. The only thing with McAvoy is the fact that he's so young to be playing Xavier. But there's aesthetics in a lot of stuff, so that means that he could be playing the character for a long, long, long time. So we're talking about that. They're talking about that, how they work the X-Men, because it's one of the most complicated issues to insert them into the MCU, and the Fantastic Four. So the Fantastic Four has to become this new centerpiece of the MCU. The X-Men is also Deadpool, which is one of the main worries right now. Is Deadpool going to the PG-13? I think he should stay on the R train that he is right now. Same people working it, same screenwriters, everything. It has to be in the case of Deadpool, it has to be a clean transition, so that the entire this new phase that will span like crazy on the MCU still works. So there's a lot of challenges here. We are talking about, especially on the MCU's part, because in going back to Game of Thrones, they just have to make another successful series so they can make another successful series. Game of Thrones, basically, unlike the MCU, let's say, for example, the MCU has a lot of challenge. If they don't make enough money on the box office, they have to make. They have a lot of metrics in the MCU. How toys are getting sale, how licensing goes on. Game of Thrones does not have exactly that problem. They have their merchandise, but they have a control area of merchandise that they license. It's not like in the MCU that you got toys, you got Legos, you got video games, you got so much of everything that you don't know what you're gonna do with so much stuff. So it's really hard. The Russo brothers, I hope they stay on the helm. They have done a really fantastic job. And taking the Marvel characters in this next phase, let's go again with the Star Wars example. So Star Wars movies are not at all this like super bad, but they're not like really good either. So they are like in this happy medium environment that needs to be fixed. So in the case of the MCU, they have a lot of challenges, but they have a lot of money, and they have to make a lot of right move, a lot of strategic moves. Because if they don't make those strategic moves, everything could fall apart. And the thing is that if everything falls apart, that could mean that DC could have another opportunity. But the thing is that DC, due to the way that, and I think this is the first time I publicly discussed this, but the thing is that The Dark Knight, which is perhaps one of mine, if not my favorite movie of all time. Well, not of all time. There's The Crow too there. But in the case of The Dark Knight, I was watching this video on YouTube, and it was talking about how The Dark Knight took the bar so up high in the DCU that it was so really hard to follow. And the thing is that it even minimized Superman, something that has never happened before. Because one advantage that Marvel has developed through the years is that even though you could have the most powerful heroes, the main focus is not on those heroes, but on those that overcome the odds. And it should be the standard of most comics. But in the case of DC, they have made Batman so big that anything, if they want it to work, has to be with a working Batman franchise that can spawn off the rest. Is maybe the only way, because they have so over established it. Because Batman is the only one that can get all these links together. The thing is that DC has been building up Batman so much over the years that it has left Superman like in a complete forgotten second place. It's like Superman barely exists. Batman has completely knocked him out of the park. He's like another roster. He's now the equivalent of Captain Marvel in the DC universe. It's like you cannot do nothing without Batman. And the thing with the DC universe is that throughout this, especially throughout these last 10 to 15 years, the DC universe is solely carried by Batman, and that's one of the problems that they have. But the MCU has a lot of ground to make a lot of mistakes. The thing is, the name of the game right now is mostly timing on how DC can capitalize, even if it is a movie or a good series. They have the Arrowverse already going on for them, so we will have to see. As for the next films that the MCU, they're coming up, not bad films, not bad actors, not bad leading characters, but in some way the Avengers have to be reassembled in many ways. So we will have to wait and see what happens there. So the thing is that we got these huge projects that they have redefined entertainment itself. And in the case of Game of Thrones, for those of us who are watching the series, we're witnessing entertainment history in the making, as well as we did for all the people that went to see Avengers Endgame. So I think that there's great potential for both of them, but this bar is so high right now that they have a lot of challenges. They have a lot of challenges to overcome. They have a lot of issues to overcome casting-wise. The X-Men issue is one of the most important. If they don't work that part well, it could mean... Disney is Disney, so they could work a successful Fantastic Four reboot and fail a little bit on the X-Men part. But the thing is that the universe, the MCU is so big right now that they can do that and put these other characters, minor characters, is something is not working out. So the funny thing about the MCU is that in a way it has to operate like a wrestling company, because they have to anticipate fan approval, fan disapproval,